The flaws of something should only matter to you if they take away from what it is that makes you enjoy it in the first place. This is a sentiment that I have held for a very long time, and while I've never brought it up properly in a video before, it's an idea that I've discussed quite a bit in conversation as well as on stream. Too often do I see people decide their entire opinion on something based purely on its objective value or what other people say about it, rather than choosing to enjoy it regardless. And even more often than this, do I see people try to take away from someone else's enjoyment of something, purely because they view it as being a flawed product and they can't understand how someone else could like it. But if the flaws that exist in something don't detract from what it is you like about it, then why should they matter to you? I bring all this up now because I feel like this sentiment applies to the subject of today's video. Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach released a little over a year ago on December 16th, 2021 to very rough reception. The game was an unoptimized mess, which was plagued by poor gameplay, glitches galore, and a very confusing story which left many FNaF fans extremely disappointed. I didn't even get to do a full playthrough of this game until 2 months after launch due to how it ran on my PC, forcing me to wait until the first of the game's many quality of life updates. To say that this game was controversial in the FNaF community is a massive understatement. For a while, all I saw on my recommended feed was video after video about how awful this title was, with some members of the FNaF community even going as far as to say that they didn't care for the franchise anymore because of it. And to be honest, all of this backlash was for the most part very justified. But with all that said, I love this game. I love this game a lot. Security Breach is a messy game, but you know what? It's my favorite mess I've ever played. Despite everything wrong with it, I find myself revisiting this title more than any other game in the franchise, and every single time I do, I have a blast. There isn't a single flaw in Security Breach which takes away from the enjoyment that I get out of it. So for that reason, I don't care that it isn't great. It doesn't need to be for me. And if you don't share that sentiment, then honestly, yeah, that's fair. You probably enjoy this and other games in the series for a different reason than I do. A reason which makes the many problems in Security Breach extremely annoying to you. And in this video, I'm hoping to explain my reasoning. This isn't about trying to prove why this game is secretly amazing or anything, but rather it's to explain why I like it despite its flaws, and why you shouldn't be afraid to like something even if the general consensus is that it isn't the best. So, without further ado, let's delve into it. So I guess I'll start things off for this video by saying that it isn't really going to be structured around breaking down every aspect of the game, but rather just keying in on the aspects that I liked the most about it. Starting with my absolute favorite part of playing this game, the Pizzaplex. The Pizzaplex is without a doubt my favorite setting we ever got out of a FNaF game. This massive mall is one huge spectacle which I love exploring. It's a bright, colorful location which feels so reminiscent of the arcades I always wanted to go to as a kid, and the sheer size of it makes it so every single time I revisit the game I find a new location within it that I'd never seen before. When I was recording the gameplay for this video, it had been my 4th time playing through Security Breach, and I still found new locations I'd never discovered before, ones which housed interesting collectibles and amazing set pieces. The expansiveness of this map, coupled with the huge variety of locations it offers, made me want to investigate every single little nook and cranny I could, with this being even further incentivized by the almost Metroidvania-style map design the game has. Security Breach is built in such a way where many locations are completely cut off to us until we retrieve some kind of item later which allows us to access it. This can come in the form of security badges, party passes, or upgrades to Freddy which allows him to break through different doorways. What this style of map design did for me was build up intrigue of what could possibly be behind those doorways, making me think about them as I played through the game normally until eventually I was able to come back later with the tools I needed to access them. And oftentimes this led to really interesting Easter eggs or collectibles which rewarded me for wanting to explore and learn more about the setting. Each location in Security Breach has its own unique charm that makes me look forward to reaching them every single time I play through the game, with each having some kind of unique gimmick or visual theme that make them stand out. Some of my favorite examples are locations like Monty Golf, which is filled to the brim with different props and animatronics which follow its heavy outback theme. The trash pit where we encounter Shattered Chica, which is a surprisingly creepy area that fulfills a similar visual style to some set pieces in games like Portal 2. And the arcade where we encounter DJ Music Man, which doubles down on the Pizzaplex's usual neon 80s aesthetic with a bunch of different spiderweb decals all over the ceiling. There's enough variety between all these places that they each have their own unique charm, all the while they follow a very similar style that they all feel like they belong together, making the Pizzaplex a very diverse and entertaining setting to traverse. And speaking of charm, another aspect of Security Breach that I absolutely love is how much charm and personality both the visuals of the game as well as the writing and characters have. Security Breach is a game which, for the most part, doesn't even try to be scary. This is something that was a major letdown to many longtime fans of the series, as well as myself. But I feel that what it lacks in horror, it makes up for in how charming the characters and setting are. The animatronics in Security Breach have some of the most personality we've ever seen from any of the games. Each one is a very clearly defined character whose traits often lead to them either being extremely interesting to me or downright hilarious at times.
Freddy, I found the free gift! It's a crappy Mr. Hippo fridge magnet? Lame.
I am truly sorry.
Why is he so... Like Freddy sounds like he ruined Gregory's Christmas.
It ain't my pass!
Try that terrible magnet you found.
It's not even that bad.
Sounds so offended.
No!
Oh,
Like-
now I'm kind of...
Like, not only was he, like, super apologetic, but it seems like he held a grudge on the magnet.
The entrance is on the second floor balcony.
Break your rule breaker! You are banned from the daycare! Security alert! Security alert!
I fucking love him.
Gregory, jump in! We need
Oh,
to
hey.
get out of here now! They have found you!
Oh my god, they did find me! Ah, get off of me! Ah!
Can you see me?
Shit, I used the wrong one. There he is! Okay, I got Monty! And while I understand that the animatronics being more lifelike and animated was annoying to a lot of people, I just can't help but love each and every one of them. Glamrock Freddy gives us a sense of comfort through the game that we're not used to having. Monty has an interesting dynamic of his jealousy towards Freddy as well as the implications that he killed Bonnie. Chica, while being less interesting than the others, often provided by having some of the creepiest animations and moments in the entire game tied to her. And Roxy's insecurities and obsession with being the best makes it all the more upsetting when we destroy her and take her most defining trait, that being her eyes. Even when the game's flaws begin to show themselves, rather than taking away from my experience playing this game, I often found that they added to it because of how funny they could be. When I think back to the really scuffed moments in my playthroughs, I usually do so fondly because of how much enjoyment it gave me and my friends who were there to watch me play it.
I don't know if I can do this.
He's gonna wait for me, just wait for it, Eric. Wait for it.
They turned. Oh, there we go.
There we go! They wouldn't patch that out of the game, don't be silly.
I don't know if they even could.
I know. Freddy's got a mind of his own, he does what he wants. Hi, Freddy. Hi. Hi. Stupid
Remap.
Come here, Freddy. Freddy? What? Freddy? How'd you get behind me?
Are you lost?
Whoa, why was she so loud? Okay, well, I guess she's at the door. And I guess he's at the door, too. Literally, the entire point is just that I have to survive until 6 a.m. And yet I keep going on the... Oh my god, Monty's stuck up there again! Monty got stuck! Monty can't get down from there. You okay, Monty?
He's just doing some lookout.
I'll look for him up here, guys. I've got eyes like a hawk.
That means he has to have jumped from the roof. Like, like he would have had to the Kratos fall from up there.
I like the idea. I like the idea that he just fell from there and he's just...
Guys, I can't get down.
He's afraid of heights.
Sure, of course, I'd rather the game be without these weird bugs, but I'm just saying that if they're going to be there, I'm happy that I can at least have fun when they show themselves. At the end of the day, I'm just playing the game to have a good time, and anything that helps to make that happen is a plus in my book. Even though the game doesn't try to be scary most of the time, I find that everything else it offers works to compensate for that by making it a very charming experience filled with personality and fun characters. With that said though, one last thing about this game that I'd love to bring up is that while I feel Security Breach is mostly unscary, there are some genuinely well-made horror sections that I feel don't get enough credit. Take, for example, the daycare section that we go to very early on in the game. This section is easily one of the most tense, and I feel that way for a plethora of reasons. Having to crawl through a tight and claustrophobic space in the dark to find the generators is already a very suspenseful scenario. But couple that with a threat that constantly sounds like he's all around you, and eventually starts crawling through those small spaces with you, and you get some moments of real, genuine horror in an experience which otherwise lacks it. I hate him! I hate him! Okay, it was the red one. I need the blue. Oh my god! Oh my god! No! Oh my god, no! I can see his slip behind me! Oh my god, he's right behind me! Oh wait, is he? I can't tell. I can't tell where he is. He is right behind me! Another great example of this comes in the form of the endoskeleton basement. This section has us in a very bizarre location, a massive barren warehouse filled with endoskeletons which only ever move when we're not looking at them, or they don't know where we are. As we progress through this section, the corridors get tighter and tighter, and more endoskeletons begin to wake up, making it all the more overwhelming and stressful until the very end where we're running away from so many that you lose count. These two great moments, as well as some I haven't mentioned like the Shattered Roxy encounter and the DJ Music Man boss fight, work to give Security Breach many more horror elements than I feel we as a community ever give it credit for. That isn't to say that the game is absolutely terrifying or anything, but I just wanted to point this out because I feel like when the game does try to be scary, it does so very effectively. These horror elements combined with the amount of personality the game has and how much I adore exploring the Pizzaplex make Security Breach one of my absolute favorite FNaF games, and I'm not afraid to say that. Too often now in this community, as well as in general, do I see people being given so much flack just because they enjoy something that is generally considered flawed. But why does that have to be the case? Going back to what I said at the start of this video, shouldn't the flaws of something only really matter if they take away from what you enjoy about it? I often feel like the flaws of something can give it more charm, and if I had to mold my entire opinion of something around its objective value, then I feel like I'd be miserable because there's so many interests of mine that I'd suddenly miss out on. If everything was perfect, then nothing would be. Flaws can make something more appealing just as easily as the good parts, even if those flaws are annoying to someone else. People should just be allowed to like what they like, and if someone else has a problem with that, then that's their issue, not yours. I hope that if you made it through to the end of this video, you at least have a better understanding of what I love about this game and why its issues don't and never will bother me. And if you're a fellow Security Breach enjoyer like myself, I hope that this video was enjoyable for you as well. I'm looking forward to the Ruin DLC and the future of the franchise. It may be a bumpy road that we've been traveling on these last couple of years for FNaF, but honestly, I'm just happy to be here for the ride. I look forward to seeing you in whatever my next project ends up being, and I hope you have a Merry Christmas. Goodbye for now.